91.1 FM, The Ball.
Programs presented are submitted by members of our community and are a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM. The views expressed do not necessarily reflect those of KNLY 91.1 FM, The Boss, and affiliates.
Welcome everybody to Superhuman with Dr. V and Jason Phelps, and we have some special guests on today, Tyler Hobson, and we'll introduce him in just a second, and Tory Tarnowski from, what is it, y'all's Woodland Sport, from Lifted. Y'all are in Woodland
Lifted,
Sports?
yes.
Okay.
It's Lifted Elevated Health and Fitness, and we're based out of the Woodland Sportsplex. Yeah.
Well, we're coming to you today because, as y'all know, everything opened back up on Monday. We're gonna talk a lot today about strength training, kind of the effects that COVID's had on gyms, you know, and a lot of other things to kind of help you move forward with the training as everybody's getting back into it. And today's fun. There's no notes. It's just going to be all organic. It's just going to be all just kind of just
a lot of meathead talk.
A lot of meathead talk today, man. Well, you're going to see what the typical thinking about meathead stereotype is totally wrong. Okay, and we talked about this. So real quick, I'm going to introduce Tyler Hobson. I've been real lucky to have him down the street from me, actually. So what's cool is we moved to our new house, and I kept driving around the corner, and I kept seeing this trailer back there, and it just had this football player on it and some sports equipment and lifting equipment, and I said, man, I needed to stop there, you know, one day and see what that's all about. And so one day I just stopped in and met with Tyler, and that's his playground. Jason's seen it too. Tory's been. So it's like a playground for weightlifters. Yeah. I mean, for anybody interested in lifting, and so.
I told my wife when I got home from seeing it for the first time, I was like, I feel like I just went to Santa's workshop.
Yeah, Santa's workshop. That's the word. Yeah.
That was what it was.
And so basically, you know, come to find out, we're very connected with a lot of people that we know, and like his son, his daughter-in-laws, his family, all of us, you know each other in the community, and so we've become really, really good friends. And I like to go over there and train. He allows me to go over there and have fun and train and blow off some steam and lift weights.
So Tyler, tell us what it is you're doing there.
Yeah,
just
tell everybody what you're doing.
Yeah, so what I do is I have a 6,000 square foot design facility, kind of a studio where I can work on new strength training concepts and just kind of try stuff out, bring people in, fit it to people, and that's where we developed the new strength training machines that are going to market. And it's kind of like I'm more of an artist that kind of slings clay against the wall, except mine are hot molten steel. And,
right.
But that's kind of the way it works, and it's been a blessing out there. I designed the Pendulum line of strength training equipment for Rogers Athletics, and so we work on special projects all the time, and then have some old vintage Pendulum stuff that you've gotten to play on, and it's kind of a little bit of a museum, and then a little bit forward thinking.
And so I heard that the row machine that I fell in love with while I was there actually was purchased. Is that right?
Well, a row machine was purchased. I would not give him mine, although
Yeah, we wanted it. We tried.
He did want it. Yeah, it's a unique piece, and when people actually they see it, it's very gothic looking, very striking. But when they get on it and they feel it, I know that they've never felt a row like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like one of those things you have to drive it to really believe it. And I think you got to enjoy some of that.
I wanted to ask you while I was there, but I forgot. Is that do you have any type of like mechanical background or biomechanics?
Yeah, where'd that come from?
Yeah, where did all
Is it just the knowledge of being
come from?
in the environment?
Yeah, it's kind of it's a little bit organic. I worked in a big manufacturing facility, and and with a lot of old machinery, so I kind of learned to adapt and do all the repairs on the machinery. At the same time, I was competing in powerlifting. I was huge into the high-intensity style training, and as you know, when you train all out to complete failure, a machine is the safest way to do that, so you're not crushed, especially if you're training by yourself. So I started just making machines for myself, and
because that's what everybody in the gym does. They make their own machines at some point, right?
I think they do. Yeah.
It sounds so casual. Like, so I just started making my own machines.
I should have said this at the onset, just so y'all know, and he won't say it, so I'm going to say it. You know, the client list that he has, and y'all saw it probably on the notes. It's not just local gyms. It's his background is with NFL teams, Texans, any number, Jacksonville Jaguar. I mean, the whole gamut, right? But NCAA, I think most recently was like made some blocks for like Florida Gators, and you know, a lot of equipment for different, you know, Michigan. There's a lot of them, but also bodybuilders, top athletes. You know, we're gonna mention, you know, Phil Heath and some other people. I think in a couple of weeks y'all are going to go up there, deliver some stuff to the reigning 2019 Mr. Olympia, Brandon Curry. So it's not just your typical everyday weekend warrior athlete that's doing it, but they are good for that too. What what I saw and what I tell people, the benefits of the Pendulum equipment is that I can put a 16-year-old girl on it, volleyball girl, turn around and put a 80-year-old grandmother on it, and then turn around and put an NFL athlete on, say, like a squat pro machine, because they're safe. Yeah. So the machines allow you, they're like a free weight system, but they are in a kind of in a machine setting, so they're safe. And as we get older, that's the key word, right? Yeah. It's like train with safety, you know. So, you know, with you, like, again, you started with, your background was in powerlifting, and then, but what kind of shifted you into, I'm just going to make these machines?
I think we all can, you know, recognize the fact that machines are created to improve the efficiency of our outputs. If in weightlifting, if I can remove the athletic requirement, you and I have had a lot of conversations about CrossFit, and I think it's wonderful, but there's an athletic component to that.
A skill. Yeah.
Exactly. So, but if I want to use strength training to make myself more injury resistant, but let's say my athletes are not that athletic in Olympic lifting, I want to put them on a chest press machine rather than teach them the skill of bench pressing, so to speak. So if I've got a limited amount of time with my athletes, which most college and NFL coaches do, they're going to have that guy for 45 minutes. I don't want to spend 2 months teaching them how to properly deadlift and risk injuring a very valuable athlete. So we create machines for that. So,
oh, go ahead.
So that's kind of the impetus for the machines. I dealt with, right off the bat, I was blessed to get in with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because they had some injured athletes that were star players, and the machines were able to add some time onto their careers, which translated to millions of dollars. So
I think that's you know, back to, as we get older, we want to be more aware of becoming safety with our lifts, right? I don't even think it's about getting older. You know, if it's someone that's not interested really in gaining a whole lot of strength or competing in something, just having the foundation of just lifting in general. Yeah. I think it's better to put them on something like that versus teaching them.
Is that a question that came in right there? So we got a question online, and it basically said, did Lifted get some of the equipment, and if so, what was it, and can they come in and try it?
Of course they can come in and try it. We were talking about the row. We're in process of
getting the row put out there, and then the new lying leg curl where you guys were looking at that. Yeah, we're looking at
that, and possibly the leg press machine.
Yeah, that's a beautiful. Yeah, and it's not your typical.
I'm not gonna lie. I was talking to Brian about it yesterday while I was there, and his eyes lit up. Like seriously, again, it's another Christmas metaphor. We looked at a kid on Christmas morning who was just so excited about these potential toys. And he's just like, oh my god.
And even more so is like, you know, I come from an artist background, and that's something I really appreciate. My dad, when I brought him over, I knew y'all would hit it off because he was a welder fabricator.
Your dad's my new best friend. I love your dad.
Oh, he got a kick out of the legend comment on.
Before you get too far into that, where is Lifted and how can they come try it out?
Lifted is off of Gosling Road. It's 25127 Gosling Road in Spring. It's inside the Woodland Sportsplex. It's about a mile from 99, the west side of 45, and one way and a mile from the Woodlands.
Yeah. So for those of you that drive up and down Gosling, you know where kind of the Harvest Market is
Harvest
at West
Market,
Rayford.
Creekside.
Yeah, in that area. Yeah. So it's right there on the corner.
What all do y'all offer there?
So we're mainly a private boutique for personal training, private, semi-private, 1 to 3, and it's hourly sessions. We offer nutrition catered to the specific person's needs. The training itself is catered to that specific person too. So we're not really pushing ourselves as like just a strictly bodybuilding. We're putting you through competitions. We have people ranging from 14 years old all the way up to 70 plus. So you can't do one size fits all. And we're working on getting a 3D body scanner, so that will help with progress. We'll do that like tri-weekly progress checks.
Or you could send them to us and get a DEXA.
Or there you go. Yeah, cross.
Or in between.
In the Texas or the Woodland Sportsplex, it offers a full range of athletic activities too. I got a chance to meet the owner when I was there last week. We've talked a couple times.
I saw they had like football training, baseball training.
Yeah,
pages,
it's not like a YMCA you can just drop your kid off. Everybody's got to be hands-on involved. So Antonio Cromartie's out there doing defensive back clinics. Scott Strickland, he's a ex-Astros pitcher. I think he pitched for a couple of different teams. He does some pitching clinics. There's a few basketball people that are in there for clinics, so it's kind of a one-stop shop for everybody. We have a smoothie shop in-house.
All things athletic, for sure.
Yeah, physical therapists in-house.
Now, do y'all offer memberships, or is it more one-on-one with the training and nutrition?
Our priority is the one-on-one training, nutrition. We do offer exclusive limited memberships, which basically comes down to what we would charge for a session. At least once a week, you combine that, and that would be the monthly membership kind of thing. There are no fees, no contracts. So if you're wanting to train with a trainer and 2 weeks down the road you're like, I don't want to come anymore, then you're not stuck to anything.
So besides yourself, who are the other trainers there?
My best friend, Brian Chevalier, we're co-owners, partners in this business. My wife trains there as well. His spouse trains there. And we have one other a male trainer there as well. And
I know y'all all very well.
Yeah, so it was
good.
It's been a long time coming, and it's been a dream come true. So,
Well, I'm sure that we'll get into it. Do we have a break coming up here in a minute?
In a couple minutes.
Before we get to that, what was it like being shut down the week after you opened?
Oh no, we never officially opened.
Oh, I thought you were open for a week before it closed.
The day we passed occupancy permit from the fire marshal is the exact same day the county shut down.
Oh God!
So
can you imagine?
We did a year-long build-out, and the exact same day we were
opening your lifelong dream, your business, and then the world shuts down.
Not only that, quitting my job, my career job, in January to getting shut down.
The timing.
So now with y'all, y'all are just now ramped up, Tyler. So y'all had trouble getting steel in. I know your manufacturing shop was.
Yeah, we are. Our manufacturing facility is based in Clare, Michigan, and if you've watched the news, that's been quite a fiasco. So they kept delaying opening. We did get some essential business, but we literally had to lay off 230 families. It was devastating to our company. We started back up Monday, and we're just ramping up as quickly as we can with a backlog of business and just a mile long. So we're back up and running.
Good. Well, we got a first break coming up, and we're going to go to our sponsors for a couple of minutes, and then we'll be right back.
Cupcakes and Bubbles, located at 26400 Kirkendall Road in Tomball, Texas. Cupcakes and Bubbles has the sweetest and most delicious cupcakes for the entire family. From chocolate raspberry, strawberry rhubars, cookies and cream, and the most popular among kids, the s'mores cupcake. Come and enjoy our cupcakes with a glass of your favorite bubbles. Visit www.cupcakesandbubbles.com for the complete list of our delicious cupcakes. Order online through our webpage. DoorDash and Uber Eats is available too. Enjoy life's sweetest moments with Cupcakes and Bubbles.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY.
Turn on your glam today.
91.1 FM.
The Jenna Klein collection is here. Elaborated with natural products. Give yourself a compliment with our organic lip glosses in more than 15 shades. With the Jenna Klein Lip Gloss Collection, you can hydrate your lips and keep that glamorous look that you need. Turn on your glam. Visit jennaklein.com. And don't forget our skincare collection with natural ingredients that will improve the skin's appearance and prevent visible signs of aging. We have everything you need to achieve smooth and vitalized skin. jennaklein.com. Turn on your glam today.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM. Follow us at KNLY 91.1 FM.
It started as a dream. When I was a little kid, I always wanted to have my own restaurant. And it was a dream that finally we had the opportunity to build it here in the Woodlands. And I'm so happy with it.
It's a really authentic Italian food. I try to maintain the most original possible. It's very important. Every day I make my fresh pasta.
Chi mangia bene, mangia italiano. Please come and visit us.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM.
Welcome back, everybody. So we're going to jump into it. We were talking on the break about, why did we get everybody here? And so, number one, I wanted to kind of highlight, Tyler and everything he's doing for, the health and fitness industry, and also, places like, Lifted, medically, physically, health and wellness wise. I mean, we really, really believe that people need to get back to strength training, and anybody. It's not a young man sport. There is a major nationwide problem of sarcopenia, meaning loss of muscle mass as we age. Right? It's not something that it's everywhere. So I'd really like to shift everything into muscle-centric medicine has really become a really good offshoot of like functional medicine of root, and it's maintaining muscle mass, maintaining through the lifespan. And one of the main ways we do that is, obviously we talk about all the time proper nutrition, things like that, and we can dive into that. But today mainly training. Yeah. What is acceptable, what is not acceptable, what is safe, what is not safe. But yes, even into your 60s, 70s, 80s, you can lift. You need to do some form of resistance training to build and maintain muscle mass. I tell patients all the time, my goal for you is not to build muscle on you for aesthetics. Okay. It's so that you don't fall down the stairs when you're 80.
Yep.
Okay, so you have a good amount of quad, glute muscle stabilizers.
Is it the number one predictor of health past 80 years old?
Yes.
Is muscle strength
Grip
in your
strength
legs
and muscle strength.
Yeah.
Grip strength is one of the big ones. And most recently, there was a bunch of major studies that shows that the grip strength of our men now are way lower than our grip strength of our fathers and our grandfathers, and not much higher than our wives.
Well, I got to tell you, not shaking hands anymore is
talked about that.
Is going to make that even worse, because every kid, when you're growing up, you get your hand broken by somebody like me, and you're like, I got to do that.
Yeah.
How do I get my hands to do that? And so you're going to grab something heavy and start picking things up, because you're going to start having that. We want that grip strength. You want that handshake that gorilla had, right?
Grip strength is a good indicator, believe it or not, of longevity, of health and wellness late into your years. But basically, what is your, Tyler, mantra as far as, I know you train a lot. How do you stay healthy? Because you're.
You calling him old?
No, I'm not calling him old. I see how I was very careful with that. Very careful with that. I didn't. I almost went there, but I didn't. You're not old. You're not old. But what have you done to really still train at a high level? I mean, on most of it's machines, that you have there.
Yes, I love training on machines. Again, it increases my value proposition, because if I've got 30 to 45 minutes to get in a workout, I don't have to think about my technique. I can just drop on a machine and get after it. The thing I train for is health and wellness. My job is very hard, lifting metal and moving metal around and unloading, hundreds and up to thousands of pounds of steel off of a truck by hand and doing things like that. The stronger you are, the easier life is. And
the stronger you are, the harder you are to kill.
That's right.
Yeah, it's just and I mean, we were talking earlier about just being healthy. It increases your
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so that's a huge thing right now.
Yeah, heart health in general. I mean,
Oh yeah.
when you lift, you just feel better about yourself, and that creates a stronger heart. Just lifting itself and feeling better.
Well,
and
not
a
only
better
that,
mentality.
but overall metabolically, the more lean muscle mass that you have or you carry, the better you burn blood sugar, the better metabolic currency you have. In other words, the foods you eat, you have a bigger pool of which to burn glucose by the more muscle mass you have. So it's not, again, I really try to shift the focus with my patients, even though I have a lot of athletes, but just people want to feel better, is shift it away from the aesthetics, because we're real focused on, well, I want to build muscle for the aesthetics, for the look. It's not about the look. You should look good secondary to your health. It's about the benefits as far as the physiological benefits of having a good amount of muscle.
Yes.
The number one thing that's going to put you in a nursing home is not disease. It's immobility.
Yes.
It's inability to, it's joint pain, frozen joints, and immobility. I mean, so motion's lotion. We like to say motion's lotion. So move, lift. As historically as our Paleolithic ancestors. I mean, our bodies are meant to move all day long, work, walk, sprint occasionally when we need to, or run at a high,
Because the aesthetics part's going to come from lifting.
It's going to
down
come
the
from
road,
lifting.
right?
It's going to come from lifting. Period.
If that's your main goal,
That's really
the
hard to
wrong
stick
way
to.
go about.
Yeah.
It's what I find all the time is when we have people come in and they say, I want to look a certain way. It's very rare that somebody actually meets that goal.
Meets what they want to look like.
Because if you're solely focused on the aesthetic of it, that's not a good enough goal for most people to set out and accomplish, and not have some setbacks along the way and get defeated mentally.
And we've
through that
talked about this a
process.
lot of times. I know a lot of patients that come in and see me, they look great, and their labs look terrible. I could put their labs side by side with somebody that's obese, and they're pre-diabetic or diabetic, and they're eating. I mean,
And that's where I was when I first landed in your office, 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And my labs were terrible. And a lot of that had to do with just sole focus on how it looked. And, that's something that over time I'm very proud of. I've gotten so much healthier. I like to think that I look somewhat like I used to, but I've managed to keep most of it, but gotten way healthier in the meantime.
Yeah.
I feel
and
so
you
much
can do,
better.
and you're a perfect example. You can do both. Like you
bet.
can eat well, you can have good, but again, the aesthetics should come secondary to how well your lab biomarkers look. Because I don't care if you look good on the outside, if your inside is terrible, you're developing heart disease and a lot of these other things. So as far as let's get into the as far as lifting, kind of. What do you see? And I know the answer. There's no ideal training, but like as far as with y'all at Lifted, what do y'all focus on as far as modalities, like lifting routines and things like that?
So I would say every trainer has their own protocols or way they go about things, and we're all still pretty much on the same level page. But as I've gotten older and more mature and had injuries, I finally realized I'm not in it to be, we're all not going to be powerlifters, 400 pounds, Thor Bjornsson, lifting crazy weight. So why not save my joints now for the long run? So I started implementing a lot of band resistance work, time under tension, lowering the weight, and you can make up for that heavy weight by
using intensity.
Just actually focusing on it. And a lot of people are just worried about just going through the motion.
The size of the weight or the amount of weight that they're moving. And Tyler's a perfect example of this. Like, he's put me through some workouts where it's super lightweight, and we're just like crying. I mean, I'm about to cry. I mean, but it's about that focus, and so again, there's a lot of different ways, but it's not about just throwing up weights, because we see it all the time about the cheap, sets and this, and you could lower the weight.
Your force output's not really doing much. I mean,
So there's a time and a place for forced reps and for cheats, and generally that's when you're getting to failure, and you've already achieved muscular failure. Then you start implementing some different things to increase the intensity, cheat reps and forced reps, and having a partner help you do the negatives at the end, whatever that is. And those are things that you sprinkle in here and there with the help of a trainer, when they know when you can push a little bit further to try and get you past the plateau, or get you past where you've been before in an aggressive overload type scheme.
And I think originally when I started out, I was training someone different than how I was training myself, and as I started looking like that, man, that doesn't seem right. Why would I train them differently than I train myself, even though we're still trying to go for the same goal. You know, aesthetics obviously out the window, but and then so I started implementing that in my own routines. And I felt like I got more out of it. You know, just overall without the aesthetics aside, it's just you feel like you're actually doing the work rather than just.
So what core
trying to
movements
count
do you
reps.
have? I mean, do you do a lot of just a mixture of heavy resistance, like you said the bands and things like that, but is there anything you sprinkle in as far as any kind of high intensity interval training? I mean, is it all sprinkled in?
Yeah,
Is that
it
just
depends
kind of
on the
what they
client
want?
themselves. There's some movements that you can do that you don't have to run. You know, the movement itself is very high intensity and it gets the heart really going. So
you do an every minute on the minute back squat, you'll be breathing hard. Tyler had my wife almost passed out one time because it was just, and we didn't really even push that hard. It was just that type of stressor. I mean, it was intense, and it's that Squat Pro.
Yeah, that Squat Pro will be, oh man, it just takes you to a whole nother level. I mean, it's your heart rate.
That's that machine we were showing you, and the cool thing about that Squat Pro is that you can weight different parts of the lift, and so it's pretty amazing. And so if you have trouble coming out of the bottom, or if you have trouble, it's got a lot of different ways that you can approach it. But
so where else locally, if somebody's in the North Houston area, would they be able to use any of the Pendulum equipment that you know offhand?
The University of Houston has a bunch of Pendulum equipment. The Texans just ordered some Pendulum equipment. There's probably some individuals that have it. It's very, I would say high end. There's not very many gyms at this point that have really invested in the top of the cream of the crop machines. That's becoming more and more where people are investing in results for their members rather than just, I just need a bunch of members. I don't really care if they come in and train. And so Lifted is a good example of that. We're seeing more and more gyms that are investing in the people, and they're looking for better equipment, which is the value proposition for the gym.
So when you say better equipment, I kind of understand what that means just because I feel it. When I get on it, I know. But if you're going to describe to somebody listening, what makes equipment better than, say, for instance, you go to run-of-mill hoist equipment or
like a hammer?
What makes it better?
That's a great. I mean, if I was going to go on the Rubicon Trail, I probably wouldn't take a Chevy Impala. Right? So I need the right tool for the right job. Your body is designed to have very specific strength curves. The machines have to, be sized into the different individuals. We do a lot of female college athletics. The same machine has to fit them appropriately, and I'm going to take that same shoulder press and I'm going to put it in at the Baltimore Ravens. So the machines have to be able to adapt and suit the user. So it's no different than putting on a suit for the evening. I could not squeeze you into a small no matter how I tried, but it just doesn't fit. So equipment is like that. Just the lying leg curl that you tried. It took me 8 years of product development to get it the way it is. And when you look at it, it looks just like any other leg curl. It is far from that when you feel it.
That's right.
So now there's a value proposition for your clients. When they get on there, they know that they're on the best machine ever. And it is what it is, The machine has to
and that's
go.
what we pride ourselves in is that, we're not just in there to make a quick buck and, open it up to, be another $29.99.
There's enough of those.
There's
enough
exactly.
of those out there.
And so,
and there's a place for it. It's just.
That's at the core of it is that we're really excited about training and about teaching and passing that knowledge on. So, why not provide, if we want the best equipment for ourselves, why not provide it for our clientele?
And what I've seen over the years is serious trainers, athletes will go an extra mile to use the right equipment and have access to the
because it
right
produces
equipment.
results.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
it produces results.
How many times will you drive past the gym to get to the one that you want to go to because they've got the right squat rack that you want to use? Whatever.
I've had people fly from Belgium, New York, the United Kingdom to come and train in my little house of pain in the woods, and because they've heard about it. I've been doing this for 30 years, so the word is out there that there's this crazy Santa's workshop that everybody wants to come and see. You know? So, and I'm like, come on, we'll throw some deer meat on the grill.
You know what? The word is will be out a little more after today. Yeah.
Might be a bad thing.
It'll be like Halloween. It'll look like people in costumes. What are all these bodybuilders doing in the street out here? Just lined up out here waiting. Yeah.
So it looks like I think we're coming up to another break. We'll take a break from our sponsors, and we'll be back in a minute or two.
You know, your dad was talking.
Cupcakes and Bubbles, located at 26400 Kirkendall Road in Tomball, Texas. Cupcakes and Bubbles has the sweetest and most delicious cupcakes for the entire family. From chocolate raspberry, strawberry rhubarbs, cookies and cream, and the most popular among kids, the s'mores cupcake. Come and enjoy our cupcakes with a glass of your favorite bubbles. Visit www.cupcakesandbubbles.com for the complete list of our delicious cupcakes. Order online through our webpage. DoorDash and Uber Eats is available too. Enjoy life's sweetest moments with Cupcakes and Bubbles.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM. Follow us at KNLY 91.1 FM.
Turn on your glam today. The Jenna Klein collection is here, elaborated with natural products. Give yourself a compliment with our organic lip glosses in more than 15 shades. With the Jenna Klein lip gloss collection, you can hydrate your lips and keep that glamorous look that you need. Turn on your glam. Visit jennaklein.com. And don't forget our skincare collection with natural ingredients that will improve the skin's appearance and prevent visible signs of aging. We have everything you need to achieve smooth and vitalized skin. jennaklein.com. Turn on your glam today.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM. It's time to change. If you like country, we play it. If you like pop, we play it. If you like Latin music, we play it. If you like rock and roll, we play it. Because no one does fusion music like we do. 91.1 FM, The Boss.
It started as a dream. When I was a little kid, I always wanted to have my own restaurant. And it was a dream that finally we had the opportunity to build it here in the Woodlands. And I'm so happy with it.
It's a really authentic Italian food. I try to maintain the most original possible. It's very important. Every day I make my fresh pasta.
Chi mangia bene, mangia italiano. Please come and visit us.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM. We are broadcasting live from the Woodlands, Texas to the world. You're listening to the only multimedia FM station in Houston, Texas. Your Fusion Radio. Top 40s, dance, Latin, country, pop, rock and roll. All in one station, mixing genres and generations. You're listening to KNLY New Waverly, Texas, 91.1 FM, The Boss.
Welcome back, everybody. Just heard some interesting news over the break. Apparently, Zanti's Italian, restaurant. I guess the three brothers, they all train at lifting.
So Rodrigo, Zanti, and Alejandro, my business partner trains them. Been training them for quite a few years now. I don't know the exact number, but
yeah.
I mean they're like family over there.
Yeah.
So it's
they're all
man.
I know two of the brothers.
Yeah, their wives
really
hang out and they work out as well.
Yeah.
So it's.
I know the folks at home have no idea, but when during the breaks, the commercials are rolling on the screens over here, and so I'm just sitting here like drooling. Let's go eat that.
Yeah.
Let's get some.
The place is amazing.
Well, again, we could do a whole show on like nutrition today. We're going to kind of focus on training, but one thing I really kind of want to shift over to is the kind of intangibles of strength training and the things that you really don't talk about or even really express about lifting, because we talked about it. There's this stereotype, right, of bodybuilders or people that lift or things like that, as meatheads.
Even the hardcore CrossFit guys.
Very
much.
And not just specifically bodybuilders, but
guys and gals.
Guys and girls. But basically, it's way more cerebral, and it answers the question of how come some people just can go in there and lift weights and they never see a change, and then other people do, and it's some people say, oh, it's genetic. There's a very, very cerebral approach to training, and the people that really excel actually they approach it very, very scientifically and cognitively. And it's way more than just writing your program down or getting your program from your trainer. So how do y'all approach that as far as like, what do y'all see as far as the benefits, like mentally? Do y'all do anything as far as like mental not mental training, but do y'all address any of that?
Yeah.
Through form, or is it just specifically?
A lot of it comes, we push the nutrition side. I mean, that's obviously the big part of it, and that's, I think, the hardest part for most people.
Yeah.
In my mind. But we push a lot of the form and actually doing things properly and kind of get rid of a lot of misconceptions out there as far as just completely being at a huge caloric deficit. Obviously you're going to see some benefits up front, but it's not a long time.
I say all the time, I can make a patient lose weight, but if you lose 6 pounds of muscle and 10 pounds,
and it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
And you'll plateau easily.
If you lose a lot of muscle, now you're not. You can lose weight, but you lose a lot of muscle, you're not healthy.
Yeah. So it's about getting back to the basics and just promoting that and just building upon that. And,
now, you said last night you were talking to Phil Heath, and he had mentioned about the mental the mental impact.
Oh, absolutely.
That the COVID is having.
And so for those of you who aren't familiar with the bodybuilding world, Phil Heath is a 6-time Mr. Olympia.
Seven times.
Did he get 7?
Google
7
him.
times?
Google
Jesus
him.
Christ, I should know my history better.
Google him.
It's kind of small.
But basically, he was talking about the mental impact, and we're seeing this, and I'll kind of jump in and all that, and y'all can too. But what was he really stressing, in y'all's conversation as far as
Yeah, we were just kind of chatting about the the immunity building properties of having a stronger, healthier body, and I'm like, it's great to be focused and driving towards something, clearing your head. And he said the mental aspect of it is huge. And he had mentioned that there's 3 IFB pros that have committed suicide, taken their lives just out of depression and not being able to function, not being able to socialize. And it's tragic. And you don't really think about exercise like that, but it's not just
exercise to a pro athlete. To a pro athlete, it's their life.
Yeah.
It is their life. It's their social life. It's their professional life. It's everything rolled into one. And if that gets taken away from somebody, you really lose your identity in a way.
Even on the basic level, a lot of times, like we're talking about, that's a lot of times people's outlet. The social isolation that's coming, that the COVID has produced, I think that's going to have way lasting longer effects than longer lasting effects than the actual infection itself.
Absolutely.
The social distancing and all these words that we're using now. Depression has gone up. I'm seeing it in my patients. It's gone up. I mean, they are expressing it to me. The anxiety, and then
abuse issues as well.
Well, I have patients now. I think a couple of weeks ago we said, 50-50. Half my patients are saying, hey, I'm using this time to get healthier and eat better and work out more, and then 50% were, hey, I'm just sitting at home, eating, gaining weight, drinking a lot. They're at work, so they're not going to their fridge all the time. Now they're at home and they're just walking over to their fridge and getting food out. Now it's really shifted, and over the last 2 weeks, it's almost every patient that's come in and says, I've gained 20 pounds, I need to change, I need to do something. And so now, obviously, perfect time to start eating well again, and now that gyms are open, start really trying to go into gyms, do something physical.
About gyms reopening. In my experience, some people going without exercise or some form of training for months and then getting back into it. they'll try and start where they left off, and that's not the best idea.
No.
You guys have any thoughts on that? I know what mine are, but
injuries and then DOMs and all. Any way, any number of ways you can go with it. I mean, if they get too sore, it's the same thing you see in January every year, right? People go gung ho and they train hard for a week or two, and then they're so sore that they
never
go back.
they never develop a pattern.
They never develop a pattern.
Yeah, because.
So start low, go slow.
Yep.
Do something, move.
Yeah. And now is the time, if you've ever thought about getting a trainer, and now is a really good time to do that. You know, get with somebody right out of the gate who can help you start developing those good behaviors and those good patterns.
Because of accountability, even if you know what to do.
That's right.
It's the accountability of, like, if I'm going to go to Tory, like, he's waiting for me at 1 o'clock, I need to be there, and then my workout, he's got it. I just have to show up and be scared of what I need to do that day.
That's what we deal with a lot, is that a lot of it is a therapy session release, getting out, talking, and not having to think. We're putting, we're telling you what to do, how to do it, and even going back to you may think you know what you're doing, in the gym, but
if you don't have eyes on you, if you don't have eyes or a coach on you,
more times than not, when I see people working out, it's
God,
pretty.
Yeah. And it does. So even when I would go with Tyler, he'd say, "Nah, slow it down." And it takes somebody to make you accountable.
Yeah. That's right.
And we can train. I mean, we train forever, but you don't get as destroyed.
I think a trainer, it gives you permission to reestablish your base.
That's right.
You're like, you don't have to go back to where you were, because you might do it a little bit differently, and they'll let go, and they'll go, okay, no, you're not doing that today. Here, let's do this.
That's right.
Then you can build on that. But yeah, that's
what I like to implement a lot with, especially my guys. I mean, mainly all my guys, is that you gotta get rid of the ego. It's not about heavyweight.
It's not about that 30-pound dumbbell versus a 15-pound dumbbell. It's like, if you can't do it right, you can't do it right.
I just picked up a new guy that I've known him for quite a few years, but he reached out and he wanted to train, and he always talked about, I used to lift 400-pound bench press and this and that, and I started him out on very light dumbbells on basic movements, and he was dying.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't have to do that amount of weight.
Yeah.
No, it's
and then
injury.
It's a joint, and then look at the joint. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, so much of what's really cool is, like, the technology is really shifting, and you see this, like, you see me do this at the gym a lot, but little things like BFR training, like blood flow restriction training. It's not just a I mean, there's a lot.
We talked about that yesterday while we were training.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's a lot of science that goes behind it. I use a Go Be Strong straps because I can pump them up to the exact millimeter mercury. There's some that you don't have to spend that much money on, but I like those because they're reproducible. But, like, if y'all don't know about blood flow restriction training, look it up. It's a way to really intensify a workout without damaging the joints. So for people that are older, or if you travel, now travel's starting,
or injuries,
yeah,
especially extremities. If you have limb injuries, BFRs are amazing.
You can lift a lot lighter weight but still get the same hypertrophy or the muscle growth.
You got to be careful what kind of equipment you're using, because I've seen some horrible.
We suggest machines only for BFR, something that you can set down when you're done. Something we don't
use. Or cables or bands or something.
Yeah, when I say machine, something that's not free weight. You're supporting
or over tightening.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why like I said, I like the Katsu is a really good one. It's expensive. Go Be Strong is a good one because it's just a cuff and you can put it on. The manual ones.
You have to have a partner that knows what they're doing.
To
help you with those.
But BFR is something to look at.
Yep.
It's one
I know one of my good friends and trainer, Sam Skipworth, over at the zoo. He has the Go Be ones, I believe, and I think that's what he uses for his clients there.
Legs and arms.
And he's got the ones that go around his giant tree trunk legs.
The Olympic athletes use it. They've been used for many, many years. There's a lot of peer-reviewed data on it about the hormone release, the hypertrophy, the adaptation that happens with them. So yeah, it's a really good technique to kind of throw into the mix if you're looking to do something different.
So another thing with training, while we're on the topic, and we've talked about different head games that come with training. I think that a lot of what people miss, that dopamine release from doing something for themselves. During the quarantine, we had so many people just sitting at home, and I think a big part of the depression is feeling like you're not accomplishing anything or not doing anything to better yourself or, whatever that may be. So getting back in the gym, even on a very limited basis, just starting a new routine, going to a yoga class, going to, a stretching class, whatever it may be, just start something and start getting that dopamine drop, getting used to that again and start to feel better.
For all the people too that are listening and just think that, we're trying to get people to go to the gym, like, the gym's just not me. It's not simply about meatheads and this and again, not about aesthetics. To me, medically, it's super, super, super important for overall health and wellness. There's no reason that a person of 60, 70, 80 years old can't do proper resistance training and should do resistance training for health, for health and wellness reasons.
I'm going to tack on to that point. I'm going to say something. I don't ever do this. I'm going to talk directly into the camera. Ladies, you're not going to look like me if you pick up 20 pounds and do something with it. It's not going to happen. Stop worrying about being muscle bound. It's not going to happen.
Almost
do you know how hard it is to look like this? It doesn't happen by accident.
Almost on a weekly basis, we hear we hear people. We hear women say it's like, oh, I build muscle really easily, and I get in, and it's like you have to work really, really hard, like to, and some get really toned really, really quickly, but you do. You have to eat right. You have to provide the right muscle.
So what is tone? That's a marketing word, right? That we hear, that a lot of women use. You don't hear a lot of guys say tone because you see it more in women's marketing products. Tone is the absence of body fat. That's it. Then how do you have the absence of body fat? Diet. Right. Nutrition. So tone is just being leaner from having less body fat.
And I cringe every time I hear diet though.
Yeah.
Because it's not a diet.
Nobody should do a diet.
Right. Diet has the wrong connotation in media. Diet is what you eat, period. Whether it's good or bad, it's still your diet.
Yeah, so the average person listening, if you say diet, they're thinking just
I have to start my diet, a diet.
Correct, yes. It's not about, I'm dieting just to look good. It's you eat better for nutrition. It's a lifestyle change. It's
change from the inside out.
Exactly. Don't sit there and say, oh, it's Friday, I'm gonna start Monday. Why?
Start now.
What's the point?
Now, beyond the physical benefits, what do you really see with your clients in YouTube? Because is the mental aspects, because we talked about the depression, the anxiety, the social isolation, and the things like that, but resistance training really has a lot of cognitive benefits, and we kind of touch and kind of in the same vein, we talked about this earlier. It's like, a lot of people, my background obviously is like mostly in CrossFit and CrossFit competition, but we talked about, a lot of people go to their CrossFit gym, and they get they get to be the best in their CrossFit gym, and all of a sudden they think, I'm going to the CrossFit Games. And it's way, way, way beyond that. If you're going to be a professional bodybuilder, a professional competitive CrossFitter, I think it's a much different thing. It's not about going to a class one time a day and now all of a sudden you're game ready.
Now you are talking about being a professional in anything.
In anything.
Especially in an athletic endeavor. You're talking about, this is your 24-hour-a-day job. Everything else comes second.
That's what people don't realize, is that the people that succeed and make it to the highest level, they're not doing anything outside of that.
No, they're lucky if they can have a relationship.
There's a few that I've seen, but again, a few that I've seen. The majority of people that go to the CrossFit Games, they're CrossFit coaches. They own CrossFit gyms. Bodybuilders, they're training before they go to work. They go to work, and then they train after they go from.
Yeah, people would ask me back in my competing days, well, how many times a week do you work out? I'd say 14. Twice a day, every day. And that was the truth. That is the God's honest truth. And for years, didn't matter if it was Christmas, didn't matter if it was New Year's Eve, didn't matter. It was twice a day, every day, and that's just the way.
I'm making this distinction because understand that that's not for the average person. The average person, for health and wellness, just wants you doing something. Right. If you do want to compete, it does take more than, hey, I go to the gym every day, or hey, I go to do a CrossFit class 4 or 5 times a week. It's when I know, speaking personally, I thought I was pretty good, and then because I was winning local competitions, and it wasn't until I joined CrossFit Invictus, Team Invictus, and I flew to San Diego, and we did Invictus camp. We didn't even start with lifting. They had this lady named Heidi Fearon, they call her the healer, and basically we had a whole mental training.
Yep.
So it wasn't about how good we were on paper, how much I could lift. It was a lot of mind training, and it was meditation, it was visualization, it was visualizing that workout. But that's what you hear with people that are pro basketball players,
golfers,
pro NFL players, golfers. It's
baseball
all the
players,
visualization.
everybody.
So it's a whole step beyond, and it wasn't there. We had and it was something that you had to practice.
That's right.
So one of the things that we did is like we would do like kettlebell swings, right? And then you would take a knee and kneel down, and you'd be breathing real hard, and they're like, get up. That's a posture. They called it a posture of defeat, but you don't even realize you're doing it. But subconsciously, it's kind of bringing you down. If we dropped the bar, we couldn't step away from the bar, or we couldn't step away. We had to stay on shin to bar. Well, if you're tired, you had to practice that, and it wasn't until you practiced it that you got better at it. So again, there's a lot of mental.
That's right.
That's Olympians, mental training. There's a lot of mental, and those are the things that people need to do if they want to really, really compete at a high level. CrossFit or OCR, Spartan races, or powerlifting. It's visual, like even powerlifting. Did you do any specific, like, was there anything, or was it just like grip it and rip it?
You know, I did a train, and I sought out professional trainers that knew what they were doing to give me tips. But you know, as I'm sitting here listening to you, we love training. It's all passionate of that. But speaking to your audience here, what our goal is you know, weightlifting is all about, or strength and conditioning, about setting some goals and then achieving them. But that goal could be today. You know, you haven't been to the gym in 6 weeks. Why don't you, for men, can you do 50 push-ups? Let's just forget about going to the gym, forget about trainers, and let's go there. And then let's slowly, maybe you can't do them all at once. Maybe you have to do, 4 sets of 10 or whatever, and then finish out with the 2 sets of 5 or whatever. But just little goals, and then all of a sudden you're a guy that did 50 push-ups, and then just start adding on and keep building and building and building. But I think you had a target, you had a goal, and you wanted to go after it. For me, it was always a number. Let's hit that number, and then set new PRs. And I think that's what Jason was doing with bodybuilding.
Without goals, you're wandering.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Period.
Yeah.
Even if it's a week-long goal, a month-long goal, a 6-month-long goal.
That's right.
If you don't write them down, if you don't know what you're doing, you're just kind of just.
Yeah, and not only that, it can be something you decide on the way to the gym. What am I going to accomplish when I get there today? That's it. It can be that simple. What am I going to accomplish? Well, I'd like to get 20 minutes of HIIT type training in, and maybe work a little bit on legs outside of that. And so when you go in, okay, I've got an hour. I'm going to set out. I'm going to warm up, and I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to move over there. I'm going to do that. And then do a little recovery work. Have a purpose. Have a reason why you're there. And it doesn't have to be anything hard. It could be, I'm going to the gym today because I need room to stretch. I need to, roll around on the floor and, use whatever apparatus you want to use to help limber up that day. It could be something of going to use a sauna, just something. But just have, what is my goal today in going to the gym? And focus on that on your way to the gym. And then when you get there, start working on it immediately. Don't just wander around and talk to your friends.
Get off the phone.
Put your phone on airplane mode and do what you set out to accomplish. Even if it's just 10 minutes of something that you planned on, get that knocked out. Do that. And then, see what happens from there.
It's just like anything in life. I mean, nothing that you want that looks good or pretty or whatever, takes a high level. It's nothing's easy, right? So if you're at your job and you want to be the best person at your job, you're going to work hard to do it. So it's the same within the gym, and so you got to approach
and approach it again. If you want to approach it as a not from aesthetic point, but again, like from my point, approach it as a health, because there's a single person that has usually come into my office. I can maybe think of one or two that say I'm perfectly healthy. Everybody wants to get healthier.
Yeah, that would make your job really easy.
Yeah,
right?
That would make my job really easy. But the thing about it is almost everybody that comes in is, I have joint pain. I don't feel good. I don't sleep good. I don't, I feel my hormones are off. I've gained weight. This big one. Something's off. My hair's falling. I mean, there's all kinds of problems. But again, one of my 4 components to health and wellness are diet, nutrition, exercise, activity, hormonal health, and biomarker. Just basically the lab work and how's your body functioning inside, and then the intangibles, which is meditation, sunlight.
I group that into like recovery. Like, what am I doing outside to improve my physical self to prepare me for those other pillars, right? Like, those are the things I'm doing that kind of support the whole thing.
Yeah.
And focusing on that some days is what you need to do. It's not always going to be about moving slag. That's just not. Some days that's not in the cards. And I think you use a Oura Ring, right?
Yeah, Oura Ring. I track with
and
Oura Ring.
So it tells you some days, this is in your day, buddy.
Yeah.
Right?
Take it easy. It'll tell me, hey, something's challenging your recovery. It does my heart rate variability. It does my core body temp. It measures my sleep. How much deep sleep, how much REM, and how much light sleep did I get? And so it quantifies it all. And it'll tell me, hey, take it easy. Your recovery score is 75.
Yep.
Take it easy. Or, hey, shoot for a PR today. Just do something big today. So yeah, you don't have to do all that. There's a ton of them. There's a Whoop strap. There's a lot of them. But if you want to, you can, with technology now, you can get as geeky as you want with it.
And for those of you that don't necessarily dig technology, which I know there's lots of you out there that are like, I don't even know how to work my iPhone correctly. Keep a journal. That's if you're going to come work with me, I'm going to ask you to start keeping a journal before you ever call me. So if you're thinking about calling me to come work with me, start keeping a journal now. Tell me what you're doing every day, what you're taking in every day, how you feel each day, just little details like that. And then when we do start, having all that data is there, and we can start making changes based on what you've been keeping. And if you're just going to do it on your own, keep that journal for yourself. Have those notes, because how else are you going to progress if you don't know, you don't keep track of what you're doing, right? So,
and at the end of the day, I've had this discussion many times about the whole bodybuilder CrossFit feud, and one side is better than the other.
Well, there is one side's definitely better.
as long as you're out of this house moving.
Agree to disagree.
Yes, that's right. I never ever point fingers at anybody, no matter what kind of exercise you're doing.
Yeah,
because if you're doing something and you love it, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Keep doing it.
I may walk up to you and tell you how to do it right, though. Yeah, it's like, what is he doing?
But, or at least find out what you think you're doing.
What you think you're doing, yeah. But basically, get moving for your health and wellness, just for brain health. I want you to move oxygen around. It moves oxygen. It moves oxygenated blood with your nutrients around your body. I need you moving, doing something just for your overall health and wellness. It's not about, I really want to shift it from aesthetics, and it'll come. The aesthetics will be there, but the benefits to your body are.
Start making those good choices.
Start making good choices.
Start making those good choices. Do it for yourself.
Yeah, as we're winding down, I want to kind of bring Tyler back in and just basically, wanted to highlight.
How do we find you?
How do we find you? Yeah. How do people search for you? As far as for Pendulum or anything?
Yeah, like that? You can find me on Instagram. I'm just Tyler J. Hobson on Instagram. Be happy to make anybody home gyms or anything like that if you want to have a crazy home
He does
gym.
A lot of custom stuff, and he's going to make them
that
custom.
There's so many people now that want the
home gym
at home. Yeah. And you cannot find them anywhere.
I love training in my place. I like the quietness of it. I don't like the crowd, so I got a little setup that I like to use, and so I get that. But and then our company is Pendulum at Rogers Athletic. That's the Pendulum brand, and then. Yeah, I think if you instant message me or message me on Instagram, I'll
custom make you anything you want.
That's a pretty bold statement.
No, it is. I've seen it.
Though.
I've seen it.
Yep,
I've seen
it.
Machines with cup holders. I can do it.
Yeah.
And then how about you, Tory?
Yeah.
You can find me at off Gosling inside the Woodland Sportsplex, 25127 Gosling Road. Come check us out anytime if you just want to get a tour, get a walkthrough. It'll blow you away.
Yeah.
We have access to a 70 by 35 yard covered turf, 40 foot tall, and it's like walking out onto a professional practice field. And if that's not a big selling point, I don't know what it is. But
Yeah, it's pretty
I
cool.
urge everybody really, try at least in the beginning, like try to really get guidance from people like Tory, and then
His wife
at
Issa is
Jason.
a wonderful trainer,
Yeah.
and she's there as well. She's actually working with my wife currently, whose birthday is tomorrow. Happy birthday, Annie.
So she does meal prep
Happy
as
early
well.
birthday.
So
Yeah.
if you go to Jason for your nutrition, she can cook your meals.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's I'm Fit Meals. So she'll have her meals inside the gym. So after workout, grab a meal.
That's cool.
Yeah, really nice facility.
And then,
the build out's beautiful.
as always, if y'all want to come see us for any kind of, didn't really even get to talk about our new stuff, but we have True Diagnostics, at the clinic now. So if y'all want to come down and see me at Core Sports Health, you can find me at coresportshealth.com. We have a full blood panel there. We have a full phlebotomist there, blood lab. I do hormone therapy and wellness,
Recovery tools.
anything you need. But basically, we just got a new, excited to be one of the first guys that hold True Diagnostics, and we'll talk about that at another show. But basically, got a sign off for this week, and we will see y'all next week with Ben Pekulski.
Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See y'all then.
Thanks.
Thank you.